I believe the greatness of Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime performance is the moderator, Samuel L. Jackson, but Drake, you can hold the L for now. And this is a phenomenal, masterful performance and storytelling, which Kendrick Lamar placed the heavy emphasis on with this performance.
Open about storytelling through all my catalog and my history of music. And I've always had a passion about bringing that on whatever stage I'm on.
Uncle Sam was played by Samuel L. Jackson, and Uncle Sam is giving Kendrick criticisms throughout his show.
Too reckless, too ghetto.
And those criticisms live rent-free in the minds of the American public. Kendrick predicted exactly what they would say, and he would beat you to the punch by saying it in real time for you.
The Great American Game.
The Great American Game. The Great American Game, of course, is the Super Bowl. And this is one of the few Super Bowl performances where the entire football field is utilized. There's not much to the stage. It's just Kendrick and these dancers running around the field. But one theme, at first I thought it was some Squid Games material, but you see the PlayStation controller. And the Great American Game could symbolize a lot of things. Kendrick is the main character here. He is a black man navigating all of the highs and lows that come with his existence as a black man in America. That's one part of the game. Also, being famous and having this much influence comes with a lot of power, and that power is a game itself, right? You don't want to scribble too far out of the margin, and Kendrick tends to do that. So for the game, it's almost like, hey, make sure you keep it safe. Don't do anything that's going to get you a flag on the play.
Scorekeeper, deduct 1 life.
So Kendrick Lamar starts the show with the GNX car in the background. It lets you know, hey, we're sticking with the theme. I'm giving you the present tense. And he does the snippet that he posted on Instagram. I need him to release this badly.
With love. My Gemini twin back power went up. No more handshakes and hugs.
Only thing matter right now is living right now, and I can't spare no feelings.
Only thing matter right now is living right now, and I can't spare no feelings.
Kendrick is fully immersed in what is happening right now, and he can't spare any of his feelings. He has to let them all go. He has to share everything that's on his mind in real time instead of trying to recreate something he did in the past.
I love being present. Man. It's my favorite. It's very hard for me to live in the past.
And one thing I want to say to the people hating on Kendrick performing these new songs is, you don't realize what great art will do. If you want to perform your entire catalog so you can get those songs and albums more exposure, more power to you, brother. But guess what? Kendrick doesn't need to do that. Good Kid, Mad City is still on the charts. This album came out in 2012. It has spent 11 and a half years on the charts. It's dominant because great music will last forever. To Pimp a Butterfly gets mentioned with albums like Tapestry by Carole King, Michael Jackson's Thriller, Marvin Gaye's What's Going On, Sgt. Pepper Lonely Heart Club Band by the Beatles, Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. It's on that tier. These albums last forever. You don't need the Super Bowl stage to promote that. You don't. Those moments, those eras are forever ingrained in culture and music history. It doesn't need any flashbacks because we are all going to naturally gravitate towards great art. It's like, I hate to say it, a lot of the painters that died. You look at Basquiat, his paintings didn't get popular until he passed away, and now they're worth millions of dollars because great art never dies. And that's why you don't need to do your entire catalog unless your entire catalog is not that noteworthy. If your catalog is weak, if you don't have classic albums, yes, you got to do everything because that's the only thing that's going to promote it. But Kendrick doesn't need to do that. Kendrick is focused on making G and X, this album and this era. He's trying to make that legendary, and he's making that legendary by these moments. The next line I want to highlight from this snippet, Kendrick Lamar says, "You would not get the picture if I had to sit you for hours in front of the Louvre." All right. So this kind of goes back to my Basquiat art analogy, that great art lasts the span of time because there's so much to dissect. A lot of y'all have, not y'all, because if you watching this video this long, that means you have a good attention span. But the average human being has the attention span of a goldfish. They're not going to be able to sit through an entire performance dissecting a message.
Would not get the picture if I had to sit you for hours in front of the Louvre.
So Kendrick is aware that he's kind of preaching to people who aren't listening at all. Like, he knows, look, even if I sat you down for hours trying to get you to understand, you just wouldn't get it.
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
And it's just little things like performing Squabble Up at the square because you're squaring up, like fighting.
Squabble up, squabble up, squabble up, squabble up, squabble up.
The dancers were very animated. I love the part where they were stomping and you could literally hear the stomps on the stairs. Reminded me of Stomp the Yard. And then that's when Uncle Sam comes in with the, "It's too loud, it's too ghetto, tighten up."
Too ghetto. Mr. Lamar.
And I think this is very relevant because there's a TikTok trend that's going around where these kids, they're filming their parents or their grandparents' reactions to the Super Bowl. And it is hilarious. Like, oh my God, they are very out of touch. And that's exactly why, if you're a Drake fan and you're using this to capitalize off of the hate that Kendrick Lamar is receiving, you're weird. And I'll tell you why. The whole purpose behind why Drake is getting exposed for lacking cultural currency, for not being an artist that's going to be stamped by hip-hop purists, is for this reason right here. The people criticizing Kendrick's performance, they don't respect the art form at all. So you guys pretty much piggybacking off of that to say, hey, look, they don't like the performance. This is why Drake is better. This is why Drake is the best rapper. That is not a good reason to push that narrative at all. It actually ruins your credibility in the hip hop sphere to begin with. Speaking of culture, the bell-bottom jeans is a representation of rebellion. If you do the history on bell-bottoms, you'll know why. So even something like that, I know all the moms love it because they love wearing this. So then Uncle Sam says, "Do you really know how to play the game? Tighten up." And then Kendrick does two of his most popular songs from the damn era. Humble, DNA. And this is exactly what people expected. Kendrick to perform the hit records. And he pretty much has America at the forefront. He has all the dancers lined up to create the American flag while performing his biggest record. Yes, I said his biggest record. A lot of people think it's not like us. People forget that Humble is double diamond and has over 1 billion views on YouTube. If you do the numbers, Not Like Us is nowhere near the success of Humble or All the Stars. But people want to act like this is all about Drake.
Be humble. Sit down. Be humble.
And then going from the American flag while performing Humble and then switching to DNA, which is all about Kendrick talking about the DNA of being a black man full of spirit, is really incredible, actually. Phenomenal transition.
I got royalty inside my DNA.
One thing I also want to highlight, Kendrick lays it out for you perfectly. Like, he splits the American flag in half.
The revolution about to be televised. You picked the right time, but the wrong guy.
This is why English class is so important, because people are describing the moments in Kendrick's performance as hidden messages. These aren't hidden messages. These are very direct messages that you should be able to pick up on. And Kendrick is running around like he utilizes the whole football field. He's immersed in the choreography, but he doesn't lose his breath. His breath control is absolutely nuts. You could still hear his voice. You could hear the enunciation on all the words while he's running around and still being a part of the choreo. And that's what a lot of rappers can't do. That's why everyone's saying this is why Lil Wayne should have performed. Number one, you have to censor yourself on the football stage. You're not allowed to curse. The fact that Kendrick Lamar was able to change all of his lyrics and still make it sound cohesive, even when you take out the curse words, it doesn't lose meaning or umph. That's very impressive. Lil Wayne was not about to do that. And also, the breath control. Lil Wayne does not have breath control, which is why he can't perform on the Super Bowl stage. This is not for everybody. A lot of hip-hop artists can't dance, rap their full verse without a backing track while sounding clear and concise. They can't do it. And then censoring yourself on top of that, no, it's not happening.
I do some laps, whether it's some sprints, maybe some push-ups.
Now, one thing a lot of people did not pick up on was Man at the Garden. Now, when Kendrick did the interview with Apple Music and then the interview with Timothée Chalamet, he mentioned Man at the Garden a lot, so I knew he'd perform it.
Man in the Garden, I mean every word on that motherfucker, man. That's probably the easiest record to write.
That's his favorite song from his album. And I love it. It's positive affirmations.
Crashing out right now, it ain't safe for me. Did it with integrity. These boys try to hate on me.
He's gathered around by his homies, and they're at the light post. And ironically, Kendrick is bringing light to his friends, trying to uplift them. You know, they're all wearing white, which I think could be a symbol of angels or maybe just a group of people on the prison yard trying to get hope. But the light post is really important because Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam comes out after Man at the Garden.
Scorekeeper, deduct 1 life.
Scorekeeper, deduct 1 life. He's saying that Kendrick uses his friends, his homies, as a way to earn points, right, with the culture. And he says that's a cheat code. And when you cheat in sports, you get a flag on the play. And Samuel L. Jackson hands out a penalty. The penalty is deducting 1 life, meaning one of your friends has to either go to jail or die, get shot, which is 2 outcomes of many men in the hood. And the reason why that is very important is when you watch the All Right music video, there's a scene where Kendrick is on top of the light post.
We gon' be all right. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be all right.
They're at the light post. And ironically, Kendrick is bringing light to his friends, trying to uplift them. And then a police officer makes the handgun and shoots Kendrick off of the light post. And I think that when Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam says, deduct 1 life, I just kind of correlate those two together in that sense. It kind of means the same thing to me. Not sure if I'm reaching with that. Overall, this entire production reminds me a lot of a Spike Lee joint. Like Spike Lee movies such as Do the Right Thing, which is probably my favorite movie of all time, ironically has Samuel L. Jackson in it as the moderator. Oh my God, I didn't even think about that. This performance reminds me a whole lot of Do the Right Thing because Samuel L. Jackson kind of acted as a moderator in this movie.
Time out! Y'all take a chill. You need to cool that shit out.
Where he was talking about all of these things going on in present time, the same way Kendrick Lamar is. That's really interesting. I don't know if anybody, y'all, I'm piecing things together. Subscribe to the channel right now. Subscribe. Oh my God. But anyway, after Uncle Sam says deduct 1 life, you then get Kendrick Lamar performing at the X, like somebody's getting X'd out. I still think this is going to be a song. It's underrated now. This is going to be one of the biggest songs on the album. Give it a couple months.
762s, I make them plain. I'm popping out your band, that's what my name.
And for me, this performance, the camera crew did their thing. And I have to shout out Dave Free because Dave Free is definitely the director behind the scenes, making sure all these cuts happen on point. And then Kendrick makes his way to the ladies, and Kendrick looks like a damn R&B singer with his hand on his hip.
Ladies,
Yes, Doc.
I want to make a move.
For sure.
They're like, yo, are you going to perform that song? And Kendrick's like, you know they like to sue. They like to sue people. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to perform that song. I ain't trying to get in trouble.
You'll be hearing from my lawyers.
Sometimes you gotta pop out and sue niggas. But then they hint at it. That's my favorite part, is when the girls say, what song? And then you hear the dun dun dun
I want to perform their favorite song, but you know they love to sue.
What song?
Yeah, that song.
Kendrick must really love musicals. Like if you watch, a lot of the theater performances, Kendrick just gives off theater vibes. He's so animated. There's so many monologues, so many moving parts. You could tell he really loves the theatrical performances. And the Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers tour really showcases that.
Know what? I slow it down.
The funny thing is that Kendrick then does his most, I would say, safe records. He doesn't do all of them. You know, he didn't do Love, which I think is a very safe record for the general public. But he does Luther, which is getting a lot of steam on TikTok and on the radio. Obviously, SZA comes out. She sounds incredible. She sounds magnificent. All the stars, you had to do that. That's the record that everyone knows. Black Panther, that's a Marvel movie classic. They had to do this record right here. And it did sound perfect for the Super Bowl, but still the message fits with everything else Kendrick was trying to say in the show. So Uncle Sam is pretty much applauding Kendrick like, yes, keep it here. Like, let's be safe. Let's do these slow songs that's melodic, that the audience can sing along to. Don't get scary. Don't perform that song.
That's what America wants. Nice and calm.
Before I get there, though, just back to Kendrick and SZA. They're going on tour. Buy a ticket if you want to hear Kendrick's entire catalog. It's a beautiful catalog, okay? And they're going to be on that stage for like 2-3 hours. So enjoy all the catalog y'all want to hear. But unfortunately, the Super Bowl performance is 13 minutes long. I be getting tired of some of these artists. They cram their whole catalog in 13 minutes. It's like by the time you get to a song you genuinely love from that artist, they're transitioning into the next song. They only do like 10 seconds of each song. Like, bro, imagine you eating some really good food, right? And you take a bite and somebody rip it out your mouth like, here, try this. I was enjoying that. Now, for all the people that just think, oh my God, the whole performance was about Drake. Drake is a representation of everything Kendrick dislikes about the culture of music. And he says to start the song, 40 acres and a mule is deeper than the music.
40 acres and a mule. This is bigger than the music.
It's funny because he says that, and you know who is at the Super Bowl, and you know who changed around the American education system, taking certain things out of the curriculum for kids to learn, like Black history, right? You ever think about that? Black history and pretty much anything that is a criticism of white supremacy, just wiping out all the terrible things that happened to us Black people that set us back and erasing it from the education system so these kids are clueless as to how we got here. Insane, right? Yeah. Think about that. That's why that message is so important, to start off not like us.
You can't fake influence. Hey, I'm tripping, I'm sliding.
And I'm riding in the back like, what? Mustard on a beat, ho. We could talk about Serena Williams, who is ex of Drake, who Drake continues to throw shots at, one of the greatest athletes of our generation. Serena got the last laugh, Crip walking on stage.
They not like us.
No.
They not like us. What?
But the main thing is Kendrick saying, say Drake, I hear you like I'm young.
Say Drake, I hear you like I'm young.
Saying his name. Everybody was talking about the lawsuit. Would he perform the record? Would he censor certain lyrics? Kendrick looking dead smack at the camera with a bright, evil smile on his face saying, say Drake. That is crazy. And then when he says, I hear you like I'm young, the dancers do this. And then the TV Off record comes on. This is going to be one of the biggest records of the year. The ending was perfect. Kendrick grabs the remote and he actually turns the TV off. And then you see the crowd light up, game over.
Turn this TV off, turn this.
Because again, this was all a game. And it's a double entendre. It's a game of life in terms of being Black in America, but also the game with Drake, right? The battle, I think, is the perfect way to end the great Super Bowl performance that was Kendrick Lamar. And now for my only critique. My only critique is not even for Kendrick, it's for the TV network. The quality of the performance in terms of the mixing and mastering, the sound quality, the engineers, it sounds better on YouTube and on Apple Music, and also with the people that filmed it at the stadium. It actually sounds better than it did on TV. On TV, the mixing of the microphones, the voices could have been a little bit better. And I realized that when I heard it on YouTube, that they picked up a little bit more on the reverb. These are like just audio things. Other than that, great performance. More coming soon, by the way. Because I be seeing so much disrespect from people like this that talk about the culture, and there needs to be young people like me that can speak up on our behalf, because I'm so tired of seeing this. Like, academics, shut up forever, bro. I do not want to hear your take on this. This is crazy. I need to push this narrative forward more. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, share the video, and I'll be right here for you. As always with the channel, we end off with the hug. Bring it in.
Kenny.